Every day, before you close your eyes and drift into sleep, you stand at a doorway that most people never fully appreciate. It is a doorway between the world you have experienced and the world you are about to create. Yet for many, this precious moment is wasted. They fall asleep replaying problems, reliving disappointments, worrying about tomorrow, and reinforcing the very circumstances they wish to change. What if the final thoughts of your day were far more powerful than you ever imagined? What if the moments before sleep were not simply the end of one day, but the beginning of a new reality? Imagine ending each night not with fear, doubt, or uncertainty, but with a clear vision of your desire already fulfilled. Imagine falling asleep feeling the relief, gratitude, and confidence of someone who already has what they seek. The mind becomes especially receptive as you move from wakefulness into sleep. During this quiet transition, the barriers of doubt begin to soften, and the impressions you accept can sink deeply into consciousness. This is why the thoughts and feelings you carry into sleep matter so much. They are not just passing ideas. They become seeds planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. Most people spend their days reacting to life and their nights worrying about it. But there is another way. You can use these final moments of the day to impress a new reality upon yourself. You can choose the story you want to live instead of repeating the story you want to escape. You can go to sleep feeling fulfilled instead of lacking, confident instead of fearful, and certain instead of doubtful. In this message, we will explore 5 powerful principles that can transform the way you use the moments before sleep. Practice them consistently, and you may discover that the most important part of your day is not when you wake up in the morning. It is what you do just before you fall asleep at night. Most people treat sleep as nothing more than a physical necessity. They finish their day, lie down in bed, and allow their minds to wander wherever habit takes them. Some replay conversations they wish had gone differently. Others worry about bills, relationships, deadlines, or uncertainties about the future. Without realizing it, they carry the burdens of the day directly into sleep. Night after night, they impress the same fears, frustrations, and limitations upon their minds. Then they wonder why their lives continue to reflect the same patterns. What many fail to understand is that the moments before sleep are among the most powerful moments of the entire day. They are not simply the end of one day, they are the beginning of the next. As you prepare for sleep, your mind gradually moves from active concentration into a more receptive state. The noise of the day begins to fade. The constant demands of the outer world become less important. In this transition, the impressions you accept have a unique influence because they sink deeply into consciousness. This is why your final thoughts matter so much. They are not just passing ideas, they are seeds. And every seed eventually produces a harvest according to its nature. If you plant worry, you strengthen worry. If you plant confidence, you strengthen confidence. If you plant fulfillment, you move closer to experiencing fulfillment. Consider how many people end their day mentally rehearsing everything they do not want. They think about problems that remain unsolved. They imagine negative outcomes. They relive disappointments from the past. Their attention remains fixed on lack and limitation. Even while lying in bed, they continue living from the state they wish to escape. The mind cannot easily distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. Therefore, whatever you repeatedly focus upon before sleep becomes familiar to your consciousness. What becomes familiar tends to feel natural, and what feels natural often shapes your expectations about life. This is why entering sleep with a chosen intention is so important. Instead of allowing random thoughts to control your state of mind, deliberately choose what you want to impress upon yourself. Decide in advance what reality you wish to experience. If your desire is greater abundance, then enter sleep feeling secure and supported. If your desire is a loving relationship, enter sleep feeling loved and appreciated. If your desire is success, enter sleep feeling accomplished and confident. The specific desire is less important than the state of being it represents. Focus on the feeling that would naturally exist if your wish were already fulfilled. A chosen intention does not require struggle. It does not require intense concentration or endless repetition. Simplicity is often more powerful. Before sleep, gently bring your attention to the reality you desire. Allow yourself to experience it as though it were already true. Do not think of it as something you are trying to achieve. Think of it as something you are accepting. Let the feeling become more important than the details. Let yourself relax into it. As your body grows tired and your mind becomes quiet, remain loyal to that feeling. Many people underestimate the importance of consistency. They practice this once or twice and then return to old habits. Yet the mind is shaped by repetition. Every night presents another opportunity to reinforce the state you wish to occupy. Night after night, your chosen intention becomes more familiar. What once felt distant begins to feel natural. What once seemed impossible begins to feel expected. Slowly but surely, your assumptions begin to change. Tonight, before you close your eyes, make a conscious decision. Refuse to carry fear, frustration, and limitation into sleep. Refuse to let the circumstances of the day dictate the direction of your inner world. Instead, choose your intention deliberately. Choose the reality you desire. Choose the feeling you wish to experience. Then allow yourself to drift into sleep, while holding that feeling gently in your awareness. In doing so, you transform an ordinary moment into a creative act. You stop ending the day by repeating the past and start preparing yourself for a different future. Every night becomes an opportunity to plant a new seed, and every seed carries within it the possibility of a completely transformed life. Once you have entered the quiet moments before sleep with a clear intention, the next step is to give that intention a form. The mind responds powerfully to images, experiences, and emotions. A desire that remains vague often struggles to create a strong impression, but a desire expressed through a simple, vivid scene becomes much easier to accept as real. This is why creating a short scene of fulfillment can be so effective. Instead of focusing on how your desire will happen, focus on what life would look like after it has already happened. The goal is not to imagine the journey. The goal is to experience the destination. Many people make the mistake of imagining long, complicated stories. They mentally rehearse every possible step, trying to figure out exactly how their desire will arrive. But this often creates effort rather than belief. A short scene is much more powerful because it allows you to concentrate on the feeling of accomplishment. Imagine a moment that could only occur if your desire were already fulfilled. If your goal is financial freedom, perhaps you see yourself looking at a bank statement with gratitude and relief. If your desire is a successful career, perhaps you imagine a friend congratulating you on your achievement. If your desire is a loving relationship, perhaps you imagine holding someone's hand and feeling completely secure. The scene does not need to be dramatic. In fact, The simpler it is, the easier it becomes to repeat and accept. The secret lies in experiencing the scene from within rather than observing it from a distance. Do not imagine yourself as though you are watching a movie. Instead, see through your own eyes. Hear the voices around you. Feel the emotions within you. Notice the details that make the experience feel real. What are you touching? What are you hearing? What emotions arise naturally in that moment? The more involved your senses become, the more convincing the scene feels to your mind. You are not trying to create a fantasy. You are creating an inner experience that implies your desire has already become a reality. As you repeat the scene, focus less on the images and more on the feeling they produce. The images are only a vehicle. The feeling is the destination. If the scene generates gratitude, stay with gratitude. If it generates relief, stay with relief. If it generates confidence, stay with confidence. These emotions are important because they belong to the fulfilled version of yourself. They represent the state you are choosing to occupy. The purpose of the scene is not entertainment. Its purpose is transformation. It helps you move emotionally from wanting to having. At first, the scene may feel artificial. That is perfectly normal. Any new idea feels unfamiliar in the beginning, but through repetition, familiarity begins to grow. Each night, as you return to the same simple scene, it becomes easier to enter. The emotions become stronger. The experience becomes more natural. What once required effort gradually becomes effortless. This process is similar to learning a new skill. The more often you practice, the more natural it feels. Eventually, the scene begins to carry a sense of reality that goes beyond imagination. One of the greatest benefits of a short scene is that it keeps your attention focused on fulfillment rather than absence. Instead of spending your evenings wondering why something has not happened, you spend them experiencing the reality of it already having happened. This shift changes the atmosphere of your mind. You move away from longing and toward possession. You stop identifying as someone who is waiting and begin identifying as someone who has already received. Tonight, before sleep, choose one simple scene that implies your desire has been fulfilled. Keep it short. Keep it clear. Keep it meaningful. Enter it gently and repeat it until it feels natural. Let the emotions it creates fill your awareness. Then allow yourself to drift into sleep while carrying that feeling with you. Night after night, this practice strengthens the reality of your desire within consciousness. And as that inner reality becomes more familiar, you may find that believing in its fulfillment becomes easier than doubting it. A simple scene, faithfully repeated, can become the bridge between the life you have known and the life you are choosing to create. After you have chosen your intention and constructed a simple scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled, there is one element that gives the entire practice its power feeling. Many people believe that change occurs because of words, affirmations, or repeated thoughts alone. While these can be helpful, they are not enough by themselves. You can repeat a statement hundreds of times and still feel doubtful inside. You can imagine a scene perfectly and yet remain emotionally disconnected from it. What truly transforms an idea into a living reality within consciousness is the feeling that accompanies it. Feeling is what turns imagination into experience. It is what convinces the deeper levels of the mind that something is real. Think about moments in your life that left a lasting impression. Chances are, you remember them not because of every detail, but because of how they made you feel. A joyful achievement, an unexpected success, A meaningful conversation or a special memory remains vivid because it carried emotional significance. Feelings have a way of giving life to experiences. The same principle applies when you imagine your desired reality before sleep. The goal is not merely to see the scene. The goal is to feel what you would naturally feel if it were actually happening. Imagine for a moment that the desire you have carried for so long has already become a fact. There is nothing left to hope for because it is done. There is nothing left to chase because it is yours. How would you feel? Would you feel relieved? Would you feel grateful? Would you feel peaceful, secure, or confident? Whatever emotion arises naturally is the feeling you want to cultivate. Do not force it. Do not exaggerate it. Simply allow yourself to experience it gently and sincerely. Even a small amount of genuine feeling is more powerful than intense effort without emotional conviction. Many people struggle because they focus entirely on the external result rather than the internal state. They become obsessed with seeing evidence in the outer world. They think that once the desire appears, they will finally allow themselves to feel fulfilled. But this keeps fulfillment permanently in the future. The secret is to reverse the process. Instead of waiting for reality to change before feeling differently, begin feeling differently first. Allow yourself to experience the emotions of fulfillment now. In doing so, you stop postponing your happiness and start embodying it in the present moment. One reason this practice is so effective before sleep is because the mind becomes more receptive as it relaxes. During the day, distractions compete for your attention. But at night, as your body grows still and your awareness softens, it becomes easier to enter the emotional atmosphere of your desired reality. You are no longer battling the noise of daily life. You are simply allowing yourself to rest in the feeling that everything has already worked out. This feeling gradually becomes familiar. And what becomes familiar begins to feel natural. The key is not intensity, but consistency. You do not need to create overwhelming emotions every night. You do not need dramatic experiences. What matters is returning to the feeling regularly. Night after night, allow yourself to experience the relief of fulfillment. Night after night, let gratitude replace worry. Night after night, let confidence replace doubt. Over time, these feelings begin to shape your expectations. They become part of your identity. You start responding to life from a different state of consciousness. There may be evenings when doubt appears. You may feel tempted to focus on what is missing or become discouraged by appearances. When this happens, gently return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not argue with fear. Do not fight negative thoughts. Simply shift your attention back to the emotional reality you have chosen. Let the feeling do the work. The more often you return to it, the less influence doubt will have over you. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, remember that the feeling is the true destination. The scene is only a doorway. The words are only tools. What matters most is the emotional experience of already having what you desire. Let yourself feel the relief that it is done. Let yourself feel the gratitude that it is yours. Let yourself feel the peace that comes from knowing everything has already worked out. Then carry that feeling into sleep. As you do, you begin teaching your mind a new reality, one that grows stronger each night until it feels more natural than the old story you are leaving behind. The final moments before sleep are unlike any other moments of the day. As your body relaxes and your mind begins to drift away from the concerns of the outer world, you enter a state where impressions can be accepted more deeply. Most people use this time unconsciously. They fall asleep worrying about unfinished tasks, replaying problems, or imagining negative possibilities. In doing so, they carry the feeling of lack, fear, and uncertainty into sleep. Night after night, they reinforce the same identity and then wonder why their experience remains unchanged. But what if, instead of falling asleep as the person who is still waiting, you fell asleep as the person who already has what they desire? This simple shift can change everything. The version of yourself who already has what they desire thinks differently, feels differently, and responds to life differently. They do not spend their evenings wondering whether their dream will come true. They do not lie awake worrying about when it will happen. Their desire is no longer a distant possibility. It is a natural part of their reality. The challenge is not to force yourself to believe. The challenge is to enter that state of being before sleep and allow it to become familiar. Sleep should not be an escape from your desired reality. It should be an extension of it. Imagine that your wish has already been fulfilled. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. How would you feel as you lay your head on the pillow tonight? Would you feel anxious and uncertain? Probably not. You would likely feel relaxed, grateful, and at peace. The struggle would be over. The questions would be answered. The longing would be replaced by quiet satisfaction. This is the emotional atmosphere you want to carry into sleep. Not because you are pretending, but because you are choosing to occupy the state that belongs to fulfillment rather than lack. One of the reasons people struggle with this practice is because they continue identifying with their current circumstances. They look at what is happening around them and assume they must think and feel accordingly. If money is tight, they feel insecure. If a relationship is missing, they feel lonely. If success has not arrived, they feel discouraged. Their identity is shaped by appearances. But the person who already has their desire does not derive their emotional state from current conditions. They derive it from the reality they have accepted within themselves. This is why falling asleep in the state of fulfillment is so powerful. It allows you to step beyond appearances and temporarily inhabit a different version of yourself. As you lie in bed, do not focus on what is absent. Focus on what would be present if your desire were already fulfilled. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Feel the confidence. Let these emotions become more real than your worries. There is no need to force anything. Simply allow yourself to rest in the feeling. If thoughts of doubt arise, do not fight them. Gently return your attention to the fulfilled state. The goal is not perfection. The goal is persistence. Each time you return to the feeling of already having it, you strengthen that state within your consciousness. Many people underestimate the importance of identity. They spend years trying to change their circumstances while remaining the same person inwardly. Yet lasting transformation occurs when your inner identity changes first. Every night before sleep is an opportunity to practice becoming the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek. Night after night, that identity becomes more familiar. The emotions associated with it become more natural. Eventually, you stop feeling like you are imagining a new reality and begin feeling like you are remembering who you truly are. Tonight, do not go to sleep as someone who is hoping, waiting, or searching. Do not carry fear, lack, or uncertainty into the night. Instead, close your eyes and assume the feeling of fulfillment. Become the person who already has it. Let gratitude be your final emotion. Let confidence be your final state. Let peace be your final impression. Then drift into sleep carrying that identity with you. The more consistently you do this, the more deeply it becomes impressed upon your consciousness. And as it becomes impressed within, it begins to influence the way you think, feel, act, and experience life. Fall asleep as the person who already has it. And little by little, you will find yourself waking up as that person too. The final key to this practice is consistency. Many people discover a powerful idea, feel inspired for a few days, and then abandon it when immediate results fail to appear. They move from one method to another, constantly searching for something new, never giving any single practice enough time to take root. But real transformation rarely happens through occasional effort. It happens through faithful repetition. Just as a river gradually shapes stone through continuous flow, your repeated thoughts and feelings gradually shape your consciousness. This is why the practice before sleep should not be viewed as a one-time experiment. It should become a daily habit, something you return to night after night, until the state you desire feels completely natural. Think about any skill you have ever learned. At first, it may have felt awkward and unfamiliar. Whether it was learning to drive, learning a language, or mastering a profession, repetition played a crucial role. What once required concentration eventually became automatic. The same principle applies to your inner world. If you have spent years thinking from worry, doubt, or limitation, those states naturally feel familiar. They have been reinforced through repetition. To create a different experience, you must become equally familiar with the feelings of confidence, fulfillment, abundance, love, or success. Familiarity is what transforms an idea into a belief. Many people assume that belief should come first and practice should follow. In reality, practice often creates belief. When you repeatedly enter the feeling of your wish fulfilled before sleep, you begin building a new relationship with that reality. At first, it may feel like something you are imagining. After a while, it starts to feel possible. Eventually, it begins to feel natural. This progression is important because the mind tends to accept what feels natural. You do not need to force yourself to believe. You simply need to become familiar with the experience of fulfillment. Repetition accomplishes this more effectively than any amount of struggle. Night after night, return to the same intention. Return to the same feeling. Return to the same inner experience. Let it become a cherished part of your evening routine. As you do, you may notice subtle changes. Your reactions become calmer. Your expectations become more positive. Situations that once triggered fear begin to lose their power. You start viewing life from a different perspective. These inner changes often occur before any visible results appear. Yet they are significant because they indicate that your state of consciousness is shifting. One of the greatest mistakes people make is constantly checking whether the process is working. They plant a seed and then dig it up every day to see if it has grown. This only creates frustration. Growth requires trust. The same is true of this practice. Your responsibility is not to force outcomes. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to the state you have chosen. Each night, do your part. Enter the feeling of fulfillment and allow sleep to carry it deeper into consciousness. Then let go. Trust that the impressions you are planting are taking root, even if you cannot yet see evidence of their growth. There will be nights when it feels easy and nights when it feels difficult. There may be moments when doubt whispers that nothing is changing. Do not let temporary emotions determine your commitment. Continue the practice. Return to it gently and consistently. Remember that the goal is not perfection. The goal is persistence. Every night you choose fulfillment over fear, confidence over doubt, and gratitude over worry. You strengthen a new state within yourself. Eventually, something remarkable begins to happen. The feeling you once practiced intentionally starts appearing naturally throughout the day. You find yourself expecting good outcomes without effort. You feel more secure without needing constant reassurance. You carry a quiet confidence that does not depend on circumstances. The state you once entered only before sleep begins to accompany you into waking life. This is a sign that it has become part of your identity. So tonight, and every night that follows, make this practice a priority. Not because you are trying to force life to change, but because you are choosing to change the way you relate to life. Return to your chosen reality, feel it, accept it, fall asleep in it. Then repeat the process tomorrow night and the night after that. Continue until the feeling of fulfillment becomes more natural than the feeling of lack. Continue until confidence feels more familiar than doubt. Continue until the person you wish to become feels like the person you already are. When something becomes natural within consciousness, it gains the power to express itself in your experience. That is why consistency matters. Repeat night after night until it feels natural, and watch how your inner transformation begins to influence every area of your life. As we come to the end of this message, remember that every night gives you a new opportunity. No matter what happened during the day, no matter what challenges you faced, no matter what mistakes you made, you are given a fresh chance to choose the state of mind you will carry into sleep. The world may tell you that change begins with action, but every meaningful change begins within. Before a new reality can appear in your experience, it must first be accepted in consciousness. The moments before sleep offer you a unique opportunity to do exactly that. They allow you to move beyond appearances and enter the feeling of your desired reality already being true. Do not underestimate the power of a simple nightly practice. A short scene, a clear intention, a feeling of fulfillment. Repeated night after night, these seemingly small acts can reshape your assumptions, transform your expectations, and influence the direction of your life. The key is consistency, not perfection, not force, just faithful repetition. Tonight, when you close your eyes, refuse to carry your worries into sleep. Refuse to rehearse fear, disappointment, or limitation. Instead, choose the reality you wish to experience. Seal it. Accept it. Let it become the final impression upon your mind before sleep takes you. The future is not created by accident. It is shaped by the states of consciousness you repeatedly occupy. Make the moments before sleep sacred. Use them wisely. Fill them with faith instead of fear, fulfillment instead of lack, and certainty instead of doubt. If you do this consistently, you may discover that the life you once imagined begins to feel natural and eventually becomes your lived experience. Tonight is another opportunity. Use it well. Thank you for listening and spending these valuable moments with me today. If this message inspired you, make a commitment to yourself to practice these principles every night before sleep. Small, consistent actions often create the greatest transformations over time. If you found value in this message, please like this video, share it with someone who may benefit from it, and subscribe for more content focused on personal growth, imagination, mindset, and inner transformation. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what reality are you choosing to carry into sleep tonight? Remember, the final thoughts of your day can become the foundation of your tomorrow. Choose them carefully. Choose them intentionally. And above all, choose them with faith. Thank you for watching. Wishing you peace, confidence, and fulfillment. Until next time, sleep well, dream boldly, and continue becoming the person you choose to be.